Welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara, Briain. Joining this week are Nish, Kumar, Kerry, Godliman and Ed Gamble, Gary Delaney, Hugh Dennis and Angela Barnes. We start with a round called Picture of the Week. I show the panel a topical image and ask them to tell me what's happening. So what's going on here? I know, it's an endlessly comic image.
Is that when you know you're about to lose your job, so you nick loads and loads of stationery?
Is she running late for an empathy workshop?
Is she saying, finally, finished my CV, now off to the job centre?
Or is that her photo album that's called My Highlights as Prime Minister and it's completely empty?
I'm not surprised she's getting out the car there. Look at the roof. There's a shark in the back.
Is she taking round her own leaving day card? Literally the saddest thing in the world.
We're getting something for me, Teresa. I mean, just as a kind of a goodbye, a cake. So we're all putting in £5 for me, Teresa.
Some people put euro in. They were taking the piss.
She loves that car. It goes 0 to 60 in a few seconds, which is exactly the opposite of her majority.
I'm not saying that she's grey, but if it wasn't for those folders, I'd say that was a black and white photo.
Has she been kicked out of her cab for asking it to do too many U-turns?
I wonder if she's getting out so fast because she's noticed that Richard Hammond is driving.
It's the Prime Minister. Theresa May, as we record, it is the Prime Minister.
Yes. Yes, you're right, Nish, Kumar, you're absolutely right. I agree, right. It's getting to the point where this show it's like Game of Thrones in the real world, right? And I'm just saying, there's too much news. Westeros needs a period of stability. Do you think she'll cling on as leader?
She's lost her authority because she apparently... Her glare doesn't work now since the election. Like, before the election, she just had to...
Shit, Kerry.
She'd just do it, exactly. She'd just do a look and everyone would, like, clam up and go, all right.
Again?
Once you've lost the power,
once you've lost it, you won't get it back. It's like a sort of deputy head crying in a stationery cupboard.
People are actually calling her the caretaker PM now. Wait, but that's not... A caretaker does not do that. A caretaker is supposed to return the property in better or the same condition.
But, like every caretaker in Scooby-Doo history, she can genuinely go, I would have got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids. Why do we give them the vote?
There are 318 MPs, haven't they? And they've got to find one who's better than Theresa May, which narrows it down to 317.
I felt sorry for the Conservatives in our last leadership election because I know all about what it's like when your Johnson fails to stand at a crucial moment.
The press are using analogies of, like, everyone's circling round her about to try and pounce, like it's sort of a prey-predator-wildlife situation. But in those, when you watch those, there's like an antelope running away, doing its best to survive. If this was a nature programme, Theresa May as an antelope is just her running over and over again into a brick wall until she's dead. And then the lions just wander over and pick at her corpse for her.
In which there are no lions, because she is a self-injuring gazelle, surrounded by other gazelles just nudging at her, going... Or not wanting to be the gazelle that steps forward.
She hasn't got any mates left, has she? Because her advisors have gone now. Nick Timothy, is it? He looks like a hipster. That's very confusing. When you've got the bloke from Mumford & Sons that looks like he runs a real ale brewery is a Tory, you're like, what? And he's got 2 first names, which is greedy.
Yeah.
Women don't do that. Men do the Nick Timothy 2 first name thing. You don't get Sarah Claire, Joanna, Alison. Women don't have 2 first names. They don't go in for that.
I am now just...
It's not funny, it's not funny.
I know, but now I'm going to spend the rest of the thing... Hey, whoa! Theresa May. Did you say Theresa May?
I have never seen anyone's point so immediately destroyed. By the way, look at that massive photo.
Theresa May, Theresa
That's how
May.
badly things are going for her. We literally forgot she was a thing.
I think it's inevitable she's going to resign at some point. The big question is who she's going to send out to do it for her.
She can't win because Brexiteers are saying if you change anything, we'll try and get rid of you, and the Remainers are saying if you don't change anything, we will try and get rid of you. The only Conservative at the moment who is at all happy is David Cameron, who has been laughing for the last week and a half. he's like the kind of bloke who brakes really hard on the motorway, David Cameron, and he causes a massive pile-up, and he just drives off, and then he watches it that night on the news and goes, blimey, I nearly got caught up in that.
She's doing everything so wrong. Every decision she makes is the one that the least amount of people agree with. Does she think she's playing pointless?
But what has she done about the next year's Queen's Speech?
Cancelled it. And the Queen is furious because she's on a 0 hours contract.
She should riff the Queen's speech. Like, if she's angry it's been cancelled this year, she should just throw in loads of stuff that she wants. She just suddenly at the end goes, oh, and free Nando's for all Queens. Or just stuff that the government definitely can't do to screw them over. Like, just start going, oh, also, Freddos will be 10p's again and you can download orgasms.
But isn't that what one of the things that they're trying to put in is
What, Freddo's being 10 pence? Yeah, I don't get the Freddo. What is it? I'm sorry, there is a generational thing with the Freddo. Let it go with the Freddo.
What do you mean? What's the problem with the Freddo?
What is the Freddo?
As a representative of young people, let me wet witch out, Dara.
I'm just saying everyone's obsessed with the cost of Freddos.
Yeah, just because you come from a time where you could buy a house for 10 pounds.
In other news, which major political figure resigned recently?
I know Tim Farron did, but I don't know if anyone else.
Is it worth re-electing another leader of the Lib Dems? Like, is it worth it? There's only 12 of them in Parliament. It's like having a... It's like a waiter at Nando's. You know, what are you for? I feel a little bit sorry for him.
There is a touch.
I do a little bit, because he thought, you know, leader of a major political party and make it into the history books. All he's actually going to be in 5 years' time is the answer to a really bloody difficult question in a pub quiz.
I love his video, his leaving video, because, like, it was really earnest, and then the phone kept ringing, and you could see this woman just go out of shot to answer it, and I wanted it to be a journalist and hand it to Tim and go, yeah, but do you think gay sex? That would have been perfect.
Who's running for Lib Dem leader then?
Vince Cable.
Vince Cable, yes.
That's kind of ridiculous because he's 74, so by the time of the next election, he'll be 74.
Seeing Vince Cable coming back, it's sort of comforting, isn't it? Back to a lovelier time. It's like when you see William Hague. I'm even nostalgic now for Bush, you know, and I thought that had only happened when I was watching internet pornography.
You get a nostalgia kind of thing of, oh, you know...
3 years ago, wasn't it lovely?
Yeah, you go, back, no, Freddo's, 10 pence.
What is a Freddo?
It's a small bar. It's like a chocolate bar with soft caramel inside it.
Kerry, it's basically their generation's finger of fudge.
Oh, right.
I do beg your pardon.
You know finger of fudge, right?
Yeah.
I genuinely, for years, thought they had pepper in. To the extent that when I ate them, I imagined I could taste pepper because the song always went, they're full of peppery goodness and very small and neat. And I misheard the word Cadbury as pepper and convinced myself they tasted of pepper.
I never
This is not just me, is it?
But I did go, that's false advertising, because this is just taste of yummy fudge.
Yeah.
And there's no peppery goodness in it. And what is peppery goodness anyway? Yeah. And obviously, just you and me on that.
Yeah, I know.
It's like watching a conversation in a retirement village.
And the new generation are vicious. Moving on, what has Shadow Chancellor John MacDonald demanded?
He wants 1 million people marching on the streets, and he wants Diane Abbott counting them.
At the end of that round, the boys going to answer here and Gary. Now we play a round called It's My Party, I'll Resign When I Want to. This game involves Gary and Kerry, so if you could make your way over to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launch the wheel of news, and wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. First subject is friendship. Who wants to come in that? Kerry.
Now, men and women expect very different things from their friendships. Women expect quite a lot from their girlfriends, and men expect sod all, really, very little. The bar is very low with male friendship. If a woman rings her mate and leaves a message on her voicemail and doesn't get an answer back within a day or two or a week or two, she'll ring her again, leave another little message. Did you get my message, babe? Because I did ring you and I didn't hear back from you, so I'm just checking you're all right, yeah? This is terrifying, really. But if a bloke rings his mate and he doesn't hear back within a year, 2 years, he doesn't care. He doesn't give a toss. I mean, he might bump into that mate down the pub and be like, oh, I rang you a couple of years ago. Thought you were dead. Can I have my drill back? It's a very different set of expectations, because blokes like banter. They love to banter with each other and they can be quite nasty to one another. Women, we do banter, but we have a threshold. We don't go in too mean. Like, blokes love a nickname. They love a nasty, horrible nickname. Nastier the better. I was introduced to a bloke recently by his best friend as Shitflaps. That was the name. I was like, but that's not your name, though, is it? Shitflaps. And he liked it. He was like, yeah, that's my name, Shitflaps, that's me. Everyone calls me Shitflaps, all my mates, and my dad and my kids. He was a broken man, but he felt loved, and that's what that was for. It's not unusual to see a bunch of blokes down the pub on a weekend introducing each other with all their stupid nicknames they've had since they were at school. This is Shit Don't Stink, he thinks he's it. This is Wank Stain Wayne. This is Pedo Pete. They all know a Pedo Pete. But you wouldn't see that with women. You wouldn't see a bunch of women introducing each other. This is Hairy Tits Helen. This is Cries Too Much Claire. I don't cry. You do, Claire, you do. You don't have to go on. This is Barrel Legs. You shouldn't have worn a skirt. This is Chlamydia Claudine. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that. We think it, but we don't say it.
Well done. Lovely stuff. OK, that leaves us with Gary. Let's see what your topic is. Let's spin the wheel. And the topic is health. Gary.
The area in a Nando's between the front and back door is called the peri-perineum. I like to judge my weight by my BMI. As long as I weigh less than a small plane, I think it's fine. When writing a story about losing your virginity, it's important to always put it in the first person. When people die and head towards the light, what they don't realise is they've already been reincarnated as a moth. I can count the number of chainsaw accidents I've had on the fingers of one hand. I tell you what always catches my eye, short people with umbrellas. So the other day, I was doing the hoovering in my pants, and I thought to myself, how do my bollocks get this dusty? I've been attending Gamblers Anonymous for 3 years, whereas my best mate Dave, he only stuck it out for 2.5, so I won that one. I like to think I'm a bit like Superman. For example, the other day I changed in a phone box from a man who really needs a wee to a man who's just had a wee. I pulled a sickie the other day, just one of the perks of working at the hospital. The other day, my girlfriend and I had great make-up sex. Well, I say that, she was out and I stuck her lipstick up my arse. Because I'm worth it.
Thank you, Delaney. At the end of that round, for sure, let's turn it down the bar. Come on. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Kerry, which category would you like?
Home news, please.
OK, your category is home news. And the answer is cheese, fish and drugs. What is the question?
Is that what vegans eat when no one's watching?
Is it Heston Blumenthal's recipe for a ham sandwich?
Is it the smell of an old people's home?
Is it one of the weirdest things the DUP have asked for so far?
Is it, at Eton, what were the nicknames of Boris Johnson, David Cameron and George Osborne?
What are the first 3 items on Ant Partlin's shopping list?
Oi, beloved of the nation. Back away, right? Do not slam our Queen of Hearts situation.
Also, he is lactose intolerant. That is very insensitive.
Is it what 3 things do you test by sniffing to see if they're OK?
I thought that people don't go, smell that cocaine, I think it's off.
Is it a Glastonbury diet minus cheese and fish?
Is it on a self-service till, what do I put through as onions?
Is it what goes well with chips?
Bravo. Therefore, the correct answer will be perfectly timed now.
Dara, are these 3 things up for negotiation in the current Brexit discussions?
Yes, they are, Nish. Thank you very much. There you go. Yes, the question I was looking for was what are some of the many issues that will need to be addressed during the Brexit negotiations which began this week? This is the news that formal Brexit negotiations began in Brussels on Monday. Some of the issues that need to be resolved include medical drugs, fishing policies and geographical food protection of certain foods such as Parma ham or champagne. Yes, Brexit and Freddos. Freddos which are made in the small French village of Le Freddo. Starting this week, yay! We've been accused in the past of being down on Brexit and therefore being insensitive to the needs of 52% of the population who voted for it, so yay! Good for Brexit! It's a great thing.
Just the start, though, isn't it? I overheard someone on a bus the other day going, see, Brexit's not that bad, is it? It hasn't happened yet, has it? That's like me, like, deciding that I'm going to come off the pill tomorrow and waking up tomorrow morning going, well, being a mum's a piece of piss, isn't it? We're just at the very beginning, and they say these negotiations are going to take 2 years. They're bloody not, are they? It took Greenland 3 years to get out, and all they had to talk about was fish. We've got fish and chips.
And cheese and drugs.
God, we'll never get through all 3 lists on the agenda, will we?
We are going to get absolutely shafted at these negotiations. Like, David Davis has gone in all confident. In about 2 years' time, he's going to come out saying, right, we don't have free movement, we're not part of the single market, we had to be called the United Kingdom of buttholes, but I managed to steal Juncker's pen.
It was bad. At the end of the first day of negotiations, when David Davis walked out speaking French, you're thinking, this is going really badly. Oui, c'est un bonjour aux négociations.
And now that Theresa May has to speak in a Northern Irish accent, it's going to be a nightmare in the Commons.
Qu'est-ce que vous avez dit?
I am really glad it was you on this panel that decided to do that.
To be honest, I can do... They call us Mexicans, I can go niddly, niddly, niddly. We have an ongoing thing between Dublin and Belfast, you know. Literally, they say, oh, how are the Mexicans doing? And we go, nerny, nerny, nern.
They didn't want trade, so they've had to postpone talking about trade.
Yeah.
So that, and you do leave the best till last, don't you? You don't play Come On Eileen at the beginning of a disco.
No.
It feels like we're such an embarrassment to continental Europe, and the way that I measure this is my brother actually lives in Berlin, and he is now just telling people he's Indian. And if you're thinking, does he do the accent? You better believe he does the accent. He arrived in Berlin sounding like Hugh Grant. Now he sounds like Apu from The Simpsons.
I think that's a better option for us. Like, if we're a laughingstock already, we should just lean into it and become, like, the joke country. We get, like, Boris Johnson as the next Prime Minister. I think he is the best option, because they're already laughing at us. We're going to get more stuff done in the EU if they're going, and now the leader is a dumpling in a suit!
if you're the one leaving, you don't get to dictate if it's amicable or not. But if I was to say to my boyfriend, I am leaving you tomorrow, but I still want unfettered access to sexual... Actually, you probably go for that. That's a bad example.
There were some people that wanted to stay in the EU, some surprising people, because I read this thing this week that only 98% of UKIP voters voted leave. And so your question is, what are the other 2% playing at? I'm not intimately acquainted with the Green Party, but I'm pretty sure there's not a section that favours total deforestation of the
I'm worried we're going to lose Lidl.
Lidl withdraw.
I don't want to live in a world without Lidl, do you? The surprise aisle. It's the best place on earth. Groceries. Argos has vomited more groceries. I used to live next door to a Lidl, right? And my then flatmate, he once popped into Lidl next door to buy some milk, and he phoned me from Lidl next door. He said, "Can you come and pick me up?" I said, "What do you mean, can I come and pick you up?" He said, "I've bought a drum kit." I don't want to live in a country where that can't happen. I don't.
Speaking of Europe, what are the French facing a shortage of?
Manners.
Oh. Yeah.
No, other than manners...
It's butter, isn't it?
But what is that called?
Well, there's going to be a croissant shortage.
There is going to be a croissant shortage.
I won't miss croissants. You end up wearing half of it, don't you?
I find it really hard if you ever have a croissant as breakfast in bed, because I've got eczema, so I don't know when I've finished.
It was funny, the issues raised by, and I both love his name and I love his job, Fabien Castanier of the Federation of French Biscuit and Cake Makers. And is he really, really thin or really, really fat? I can't decide who he... I haven't seen a picture of him. Is he, like, really pencil thin with a little moustache going, I do not eat them myself? Or is he an enormous, oh, I love the cakes and the biscuits. I can't decide which one more. My friend here, he does not eat the cakes. I do not like the cakes myself. No, they're forced to me. They're making butter from wine now.
What?
No, they're not.
That's how racism starts. You can just make anything up and everyone goes, yeah, I bet they bloody are, actually.
Churning the wine furious. Oh, we have to make butter from wine now.
You can't say that because you're the, like, science guy on the panel. So if you say, oh, the French are making cheese out of wine, we'll all be like, oh, yeah, sounds like he's right. He presents Robot Wars.
Just because I present just because I go, carnage, defeated eruption, you can make butter from wine. Okay, give that round of applause to Kerry and Nish. Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics, and then we'll see what our panelists can come up with. Okay, here we go. The first subject is unlikely things to hear on the radio.
And this week, an unlikely entry at number 10. It's the DUP.
Well, I had a curry last night, so I'd imagine it's going to be an absolute nightmare. And that's the end of the shitting forecast.
And next, the last night of the proms, although they do say that every year, so I'm calling it bullshit.
Oh, me hip. Isn't it cold? Aren't the police younger than they used to be? You're listening to Sounds of the 70s.
Tonight on Drive Time, I'm on a lovely one. Beautiful tarmac.
In traffic news, we're hearing of a nasty helicopter crash on the M4. Let's go over to our eye in the sky, Mark. Mark?
Welcome to Drive Time with me, Richard Hammond, and now...
And today on Women's Hour, we are not going to discuss the menopause. Only kidding. Is it me or is it hot in here? I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
Well, until tomorrow morning, this is John Humphreys saying, shut it, mofo, I will wreck you.
Later, we'll be talking about the new craze of taking ecstasy, then having sex on your back. Coming up whilst coming up, that's coming up.
3 dads, but who will get the kidney transplant? Welcome to Pick of the Pops.
And now the paper review. A4 still smashing it.
Here are the headlines. A lorry has just reversed into the studio.
You're listening to Radio 3. Ooh, someone's got ideas above their station.
And we interrupt Gardener's question time, not for any particular reason. We just thought you might be bored.
And now on LBC, some soothing whale music. Nah, just kidding. It's people shouting at each other.
And now the shipping news. Your parcel has been dispatched.
Well, it's time for requests now on Hospital Radio. Jeff in Ward 3 says, can you shut the fuck up? I'm trying to get some sleep.
OK, the next topic is bad things to hear during a medical exam.
Now, you may feel a little prick, so no change there, eh, Jeremy Hunt?
Could you just urinate into this cup, please? It's the one the annoying receptionist uses.
And if you just pop your clothes off, sit down there with everyone else, and the doctor should see you in about half an hour.
Mr. Jones, I'm going to need you to have more fibre in your diet because my hand's completely stuck.
Unfortunately, due to NHS cutbacks, I'm afraid we're going to have your diabetes seen to by our new consultant, Dr. Pepper.
And if I can just insert this end of the camera into your colon, and that should hold it steady while I take a selfie.
I have seen some cervixes in my time, but yours is a belter.
Would you mind if a student sits in? He's a geography student, never seen boobs before.
I'm happy to be able to tell you that that unsightly lump on your breast is Callum Best.
Hello, John. Thank you very much for coming on Embarrassing Bodies. Now, if you could just... What the fuck is that?
Well, the test results are back. I failed. I'm not a qualified doctor.
Well, the bad news is you're going to have to take one of these tablets every day for the rest of your life. The really bad news is I'm only giving you 3.
I'm afraid to say you've only got about 4 weeks left. I'm really sorry, Teresa.
First, I am going to insert my finger in your rectum. Is this your card?
OK, so we got your urine sample in. I thought it was quite citrusy with a hint of mango.
So sorry, I think I've run out of latex gloves. Do you mind if I use this one that I got when I was in the audience at Gladiators?
OK, I'm just going to test your reflexes. Release the leopard!
So just spread your legs for me. I'm aware you came in for a sore throat, but it all joins up, doesn't it?
At the end of that round, the point's going to go Hugh and Angela. And that's the end of the show. This week's winners are Nish, Kumar, Kerry, Godliman and Ed Gamble. Commiserations to Dara, Delaney, Hugh and Angela Barnes. Thank you for watching. I'm Dara. Well, actually, do you know what? We never do this, but you've both been really good panels, and so we've got Freddos for you. Yay!
Angela Merkel, Nicola Sturgeon, and now Theresa May. And what would the Russians say as Tracy breaks the news tomorrow night over on BBC One at 9:30?